Alright, so let's go over absolute versus local extrema. Absolute extrema, you must look at the graph as a whole and find the highest maximum and the lowest points. Lowest would be called the minimum. Local extrema, another word for local, you can write relative. Another word for absolute, you can write global. Relative extrema, the word extrema just basically means max or min, just fancy words. You localize what you look at when you look at the turning points. So let me go ahead and draw you guys a quick example. Say this is my so this would be considered a turning point. We've learned the words increasing, and then it switches to decreasing. So that would be a turning point. TP, turning point. Turning point. Turning point. So maximums occur at peaks. So in this case, we have a maximum. And you'll notice that in our graph, this one is actually considered both a absolute maximum, and you can also consider it a local maximum. I'll explain that in a second. Local extrema cannot occur at the endpoints, so these are the endpoints. With all extrema, you must list the y-coordinates as your value for the max or minimum. Now, why did I consider this the local maximum and the absolute? Well, this arrow tells you that the graph keeps going down, so this is already the highest point of the graph. And it might be, when I took my son to the mountains, let's just say we lived in Nepal, in our backyard, Mount Everest could be local to us. Does that make sense? Yeah. It could be a 1-minute drive to get to Mount Everest, and you just look straight up. Okay? So in this case, this is both a local maximum and an absolute maximum. Now, this order pair here is 1, 1. So abbreviations, you might write something like this. The absolute maximum, what we just read here is it says the y-coordinates. So if you circle the y here, color, we would just write an absolute maximum equals to 1. You're looking at the y values. You're just looking at how high it goes. You can also write down the order pair. And that's our definitions of absolute, local, minimum, and maximums. Alright, this graph does not have an absolute maximum point. The reason why it doesn't have an absolute maximum point, because the graph continues on to positive infinity. How do I know it goes to positive infinity? Well, I see these arrows. And so the graph keeps going up. So there's going to be some really high point that we can't even see on our graph. Okay? So pay attention to the end behavior. In this case, it has arrows for what we know for right now. This example here, this graph does have an absolute maximum and a minimum because the graph stops at the endpoints. Do you guys see these endpoints? This means the graph does not continue on forever. So the bottom endpoint is the absolute minimum. And the top is the absolute maximum. So let's practice writing that last one here. Class, what's the order pair here? 3, 3. And which one is the y-coordinate? So we can say an absolute maximum at 3. That's how we would write it. So use the order pair. It is a hint. Circle the y coordinate, and you put equals to 3 or at 3.